What's up, guys? In today's video I'm going to go over taking apart a Pilot Con-70 converter. As you can see, it's this one right here. I know there's several videos, lots of information about taking apart the Con-50 converter, and that's definitely a much easier converter to take apart. In my mind, though, it's one of the, because it's such a simple converter, you don't really have issues with things really clogging up or anything. Meanwhile, with the Con-70, with this kind of pump system, there's more ways for this converter to go to fault. In this case, even though I had cleaned it out already just earlier today, you can see there's still some water in there. What had happened was that I had left this converter filled with ink in my Custom 74 probably for several weeks without using it at all. And what ended up happening is the ink started coating the inside of the ink barrel, I guess you could call it. And when you went to pump it down, behind this rubber seal was stuck ink in there, and it would kind of slowly seep out. I would flush the barrel clean of water, put fresh water in there, and then you just see blue ink start seeping out. So I decided to go ahead and try and take this apart. So I'll basically start it. The first time you take this apart, it's a little tough. Like most of the converters, you basically have a metal collar that holds the entire, in this case, the pump assembly. But in a standard piston style converter, there's usually a metal collar that holds in the piston assembly. So that's the first step. You want to remove it. Right now, it's relatively loose. I don't think they used any type of thread sealant on the threads. The threads happen to be right here. There wasn't any thread sealant or anything. It was quite a tight, it was screwed down pretty tight. I just ended up soaking this in warm water for a few minutes, and then I just went ahead and wrapped the two ends with paper towels and just forced it open without any real major issues. So this is the collar. Then at this point you can see, usually in terms of general cleaning, this is as far as you really have to go. Because, like I say, if you have any ink stuck behind the seal here, once you remove it out from the barrel, you can basically clean it out. Now, the key thing to notice is that over here, you see that clear section underneath the spring, basically right here. There was actually stuck ink in there, and that's because this rod here, if you look closely, you can actually see that underneath the spring, this rod goes in and out of there, and because there's a severe play here, that must mean that there's a hole there that allows the rod to move around in and out of this empty chamber. And what was happening was that inky water would get stuck in there, and it would be kind of tough to flush out. But if you look closely, actually, you won't be able to see in the video, but if you ever take one apart yourself, you'll see that in here is a slot that this rod happens to go right in the middle of. So essentially, if you had a spanner wrench, you could potentially unscrew it. So I went ahead, did it. This is my trusty Mont Blanc piston disassembly tool. Since I went ahead and dremeled a Twisby wrench to fit properly, I'm using a paper clip with this. And you would take the two ends of the paper clip, stick it on the two sides of this rod where the slot is, and you would just turn counterclockwise. And I'm just going to kind of go by feel because it's kind of tough to see through the viewfinder. Let's see. Right there. Obviously, if you space it properly and you bend the paper clip at a 90-degree angle, it'll be easier for you to really apply tension onto here. There we go. But once you pop it loose, it should unscrew. So you see right here, it's slowly unscrewing, and there you go. So at this point now, you can see this. You can see the threads on there that screws into that clear section. This seal obviously comes out like so. Over here, this rod is actually crimped here on one end, so it's actually wider than the opening here. I guess once they insert the rod through this housing, they just crimp it down there so it can't come loose. So you can't take this apart anymore. You know, you can clean the rubber seal itself really well. And then you have this spring piston assembly here. So I mean, like I said, with that other housing feeding into here and the wide opening that the rod goes in and out of, you can get ink or inky water at least in here, and it's tough to flush out without taking this apart. In terms of this clear barrel and the black piece here, I am not sure if that screws in. Actually, let's see. Haven't tried it yet. No, I don't think it's screwed in. I'm not sure how this is made. Because it's two different pieces of material, it must be two different pieces. Doesn't seem like it unscrews though. I can understand why they wouldn't want that to unscrew, because with this constant spring tension against there, it would probably eventually kind of come loose. So I don't know whether it's like epoxied in place or whatever. But in all honesty, once you get to this point, you can either use like an ink syringe to really suck the inky water out, or you can just flush it several times to flush it clear. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the entire disassembly. And then in order to put it back, obviously you're going to want to put the seal back in. The rubber seal here has a slight lip, and you want that facing the inside of the converter, obviously. Then you would take this piece. Oh, can't have the rod in all the way. Take this piece. You can actually probably try to screw it in by hand. It'll be a little loose, so I would recommend you use whatever you're using to span that slot to really screw it back in place. Slightly snug. You don't want to screw it super tight in case you have to take it apart next time. At this point, you would probably also want to do a little silicone lubricant just around here, silicone grease, to make this this. Oh my god, I'm blanking out on the word. To make this piece slide in the barrel easier, so the pump action works a little better. And at that point, once you fill that in, you can see it functions properly. There's still a little moisture in there, so it catches a little bit. There's a little more friction than normal. I'm going to take this completely apart again and let it completely air dry. And after you install that, you would go ahead and screw on your collar, and you've reassembled the Con-70 converter. And it's in focus. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you found it useful, and thanks.